And I thought, well, there's somebody in here. Finally, I got brave enough to peek up over the edge of the sarcophagus, and there were 11 people inside there, and they were more or less standing in a group by a half a circle. And the spokesman said to me, "Would you like to go with me?" And I said, yes, I would. And they said, you will leave your physical body and we will transport you. The people who came into the room that I visualized were what we call cat people. They had feline features to them. They had on a bluish colored robe, and they did have a cowl over the top of their head like a hood. And there was one of them had a white sash, and some of them had a brown sash around the center, like a bathrobe sash, and they had slippers on. I left my physical body there in the pyramid, and the cat people were there to look after it, and I think there was 4 people that transported me to a planet in this universe here. They took me to the planet Pluto, which is a matriarchal society. There are people living on there, and the people are very advanced, and they never went through mechanical engineering. They went directly into flying saucers. The matriarchal system is a little bit different than we're used to, and when I went to this planet of Pluto, the first location I went to was I was out in a big area, and in the very center of the area there was some stones were piled up, and the stones looked like they were volcanic in nature, and there was a blue flame coming out from around these rocks. And I noticed that there was some people around these rocks, and they were men. And one of the men spoke to me and asked me what my name was, and I told him my name. And this person tried to pronounce my name, and he couldn't pronounce it correctly, and I sort of laughed a little bit. So through sign language, I asked him if he would tell me his name, so he told me his name, and I tried to pronounce it and I couldn't, so they laughed, and we were sort of getting to know one another. I was feeling very comfortable with these people, and they were comfortable with me, and we were trying to say each other's words, pronounce each other's words, and we're having a good time. And these were the men that lived up on this planet, and the men folk there are not big and strong and robust. They're very frail and more or less effeminate in nature, and the men are left to fend for themselves. They have to produce their own food and take care of themselves, and they don't really have a building as such to stay in. They more or less just find wherever they can to sleep. And Pluto was a very, very dense planet. In other words, 1 teaspoonful of material would probably weigh a ton. And because planet Pluto is so dense that any cosmic particles anywhere close to Pluto are drawn in, and these cosmic particles react with the surface of the planet. So the surface of the planet is always warm, and their atmosphere is carbon dioxide. The carbon dioxide, when it cools, it goes up into the upper atmosphere, and then it falls like snowflakes. And then when it lands on the surface, it's reheated and then turns to gas and goes back up. So there's a constant circulation, and it feels like snowflakes. It snows all the time up there, but it is a dry snowflakes. They aren't wet, and it's a wonderful feeling. It's like somebody brushing your face with feathers. And about that time, a spokesman came up and told me that my mother wanted to see me. And what I learned was that this was my cosmic mother. This isn't my earthly mother. I followed this messenger, and it appeared like a very long sidewalk. I couldn't see the end of this sidewalk. It curved over the horizon. And on the left side of this very long sidewalk, there were buildings. These buildings were about 3 stories high, and they were spaced out evenly along the sidewalk. They weren't connected together. And you entered this building from the center part, and I moved into this building inside. And the best way I can describe the flooring was like serpentine, which is a form of marble. But the floor was not cold. It was very warm feeling. And there was nothing inside of this area. And they told me that it was a meeting place, and very often people would come there together for meeting, but they always brought their own equipment to use. It was a piece of furniture that looked like a bench. They could also use it for sleeping on it. And I stood there for a few minutes, and my cosmic mother came down the stairway. Her name is Tasha, and I do have a picture of her because when I got back to Earth, I have a friend who does painting, and I described the features of Tasha, and they were able to paint it. I don't have a photograph, I have a painting. So Tasha came down, and we visited, and we went through several different subject matters, and I was full of questions at first, and she was able to answer these questions. And we visited there for a few minutes, and then she said, I have to take you to another place. I went outside, and I went behind this building, and there was a hill there. There was a slope there, and I went up the slope, and there was a room on this slope. The room wasn't rectangular. It did not have a roof on it. The walls of the room were meandering, and there was 13 different walls. In each wall there was an opening. This enclosed a place inside. And when I went inside through one of the doorways, there was in a circle around inside of this room, there was 13 different posts or pillars spaced evenly around inside of here. And each one of these